Hey, this is B from Kongs R Us, and I just got back from Shaq's Funhouse where Arcade1Up unveiled their latest product, an NBA Jam Shaq Edition, which is not quite the Pro. It's a bigger version of a cab, the first one that we've seen without a riser in person. And my first thoughts were meh initially because we were expecting a new title, but when this showed up on the website, it showed a little bit something different. There's some upgrades we're going to talk about, but this article from ESPN published last night says this is going to be available at $5.99. This changes the game, so let's go over this cab overview together. This marquee is absolutely gorgeous and looks more like a traditional marquee with no faded colors. It's really awesome. This is the side panel that you see with the 4 bolts connected with 2 plates on the inside, very much like Tron or Arcade1Up Big Blue, but there's no riser here. It's just one solid panel. Here's the side design that you can see, that midway shaped cab. I really like the form factor on this because it has that huge marquee angle on the front side. Here you can see the screen upgraded to a 19-inch monitor. You can't tell there, we'll do some comparisons a little bit later. And this control panel is only slightly larger than the original version and uses the same typical stock sticks and buttons we're used to from Arcade1Up. Underneath the marquee you see holes for the speakers, which I believe are the same stock speakers that we've seen in other cabs. And finally the backside is 2 different pieces from top to bottom put together. Now let's compare this to an original Arcade1Up NBA Jam side by side with the Shaq Edition cab, and at almost 66 inches tall, it absolutely dwarfs it. You can see Shaq's image there on the kick plate with his signature compared to the original version, and you really have to see it side by side to get some scale to this all. Now the marquee is a huge upgrade here. It's a beautifully well lit on the new cab versus the original cab, which looks washed out and faded. There's just no comparison with the new marquee. It's absolutely gorgeous. Here's the 17-inch monitor on the original NBA Jam cab compared to the 19-inch version on the new cab. 2 inches makes a huge difference here, and there's still room for art around the bezel as well. On some versions of the original NBA Jam, there was a lit deck protector that you can see here. The Shaq Edition does not have that light up feature. In fact, it's using the same sticks and buttons as the other one, and it's only slightly bigger, as you can tell in this picture. Very slight difference between the sizes here. Here's a closer look at the new shape and design and side panel featuring Shaq's artwork on the side of the cab compared to the original artwork, which had that big NBA logo. If you're a fan of the original, you might not be a fan of the Shaq artwork, but it really depends on you. And here's another look at the back panels from both cabs here. You can see that the Shaq Edition needs those 2 panels to complete the back look, and it looks very clean from the back. And lastly, we're comparing the speaker locations from the Shaq Edition, which are further back on that marquee compared to right underneath the marquee on the original. Now let's take a quick look at the UI and menu options here. Now I don't own an original NBA Jam cab, so I can't tell if this menu options are exactly the same. They look very familiar and look the same to me, but let me know in the comments in case you see anything different than what you see here. So none of the cabs there were online connected, so I wasn't able to test any of the Wi-Fi features, but I did test some gameplay, and on the left you can see I picked Shaq on his Orlando Magic team in NBA Jam. On the right, he's not in the Tournament Edition version of the game, but on the right hand side I did have scanlines enabled so you can see some gameplay side by side. Apologies for the shaky camera. I was playing one-handed and trying to dunk one-handed with Shaq, and he pulled a layup instead of dunking, but he did have some power moves there. It's a fun game to play, not the best one-handed, but I did alright here playing against the computer, so you can see it side by side. The scan lines I do really like. Code Mystics does a great job with scan lines on the right, so I highly recommend turning them on if you're playing the game. Overall, great gameplay. So final thoughts on the unveiling of Arcade1Up's NBA Jam Shaq Edition cabinet. Now I know most of the community might have been disappointed because they were clamoring for a new title like NFL Blitz. The fact that we got this announcement from ESPN that said it could be $5.99 is huge. Now that might not be the final price point, it could be even $700, but there's still more value for your money than we've ever seen. A better marquee, a bigger monitor, a bigger form factor compared to the original, all at a $600 or $700 price point is fantastic. The XL line gets me excited to keep going and see what else they can do with this line. So I'm excited for the future of this. I had a great time last night. Thank you so much to Arcade1Up, especially John D for hosting me. I had a blast, hope you did too, and we'll see you next time. Bye.